Lascavo Prossimo! This week's Quicktools quick sketch is going to be based on the work of an artist I've admired for years, a guy called Satoshi Matsuura. Apart from anything else, this guy's sheer output is just astounding, and his creativity, his playfulness, well, I just find it captivating. I want to explore one of these designs today with Quicktools. Gotovi? Now, I absolutely love the posture of this. What is it? It's some kind of a ghoulish skeleton sentinel figure. It really does conjure the weariness of some ancient guardian or sentinel. He's all ragged, he's beaten up, he's all stooped and worn out, but he's ready. Today, I'm just going to focus on the skull. Now, as you probably know, I like keeping things snappy and spontaneous when it comes to the artwork itself, so I'm not going to do a detailed analytical study here, down to the millimeter. I just want to use this as a springboard, really, and see where it takes me. I just love how kind of unbounded Satoshi Matsuura is with his shapes, his forms. If you look at this skull next to a proportionately accurate model, I'll just switch that on here. There are a few things that leap out to me. First, there's this crazy pokey out cheekbone. And then there's the way the eye sockets are way up in the face. Look at that compared to the sort of accurate skull. And then there's this nose hole. It looks like it's upside down. And then check out the lower jaw. Now, look how long the upright bit is. This, I think, is called the ramus of the jawbone. So this, he couldn't even close his mouth if he wanted to. So it doesn't really work as sort of anatomy, but I love it. This artist has just focused on gesture, expressiveness, proportions be damned. Another thing I love is how economical he is with his construction. It's all made up of straight lines, really. As such, I think this is going to be perfect for the N-gon brush in Quickshape. I'm going to hide this now and try to use my memory of how it looks, just so I have it in mind as a loose guide rather than something that I've got to slavishly copy. Let's dive in. So Control F to start Quickshape. Tap 3 above the main part of your keyboard to switch to the N-gon brush. Align to view. Set your direction the way you want it, neutral or away from or towards you. And of course, set the depth with the F key. And then it's just a matter of clicking to describe the shape. When you're done, right-click to confirm. If you need to adjust the thickness afterwards, you can always use the shortcut Alt+F. Now, much like in the rock tutorial from last week, I'll just go around slicing corners off here and there, just to sculpt this into shape. As I say, this technique works pretty well in this example because, as we saw, Matsuura tends to use a lot of straight lines in his designs. Don't forget to switch cut through off with the shortcut C when you want to make just a hollow that doesn't go right through your model, like here under the upper jaw. Sometimes you might find that a cut is a bit awkward and you may need a bit more control. Well, down in the options on the left, look for Alt+G procedural. Now what this does is it lets you move the cutter after you confirm it. It stays visible. See the wireframe of the cutters here? I can now just grab these and transform them the way I would any other object. Sometimes you may make a cut too deep, like in this case, With Quickshape, it's actually pretty easy to patch up holes. I'm going to line up the work plane with the face I want to patch up. I'll hover over it and tap W. Of course, just adjust your brush thickness with the F key again, then just drag out a shape that's big enough to patch the hole. Hold Ctrl Shift rather than just Ctrl to add geometry. You can see I made it a little bit too thick here, but I'm not really bothered about that. It's going to be hidden. I can fix it later if I want. Now, for the lower jaw, I might as well reuse some of my geometry here. So I think I'll copy a slice of the upper jaw. Instead of holding Control to use shapes as cutters, I'm going to hold Shift to make a slice. And you see, I get this green highlight as opposed to the red one. Now I can just duplicate that slice, drag it down, and then just use a bit of poly modeling to customize it a bit. Now remember how useful the 3D cursor can be. If I carefully place it here, say on this lower jaw, then I know that that's the depth in space where Quickshape will place my geo if I'm in align to view mode at the bottom here. I'm going to use that trick again to create the teeth. And once they're all in place, I think I'll go back and again use that Alt+F shortcut just to vary the height of them a bit. With the blockout done, I want to move into the next stage using some more goodies in the Quicktools arsenal. As you've seen, there is a certain boxiness to the design that I've made at the moment, which I like, but I want to make this model a little bit more organic, a bit more expressive. So I'm going to move on from Quickshape and into Quick Deform. I want to squash and stretch this skull using the Quick Lattice, but if I go ahead and do that now via the Quick Deform menu, that's the shortcut Control Shift F. Over on the lower right, there's the Quick Lattice. You can see it has its own shortcut actually, that's Control Shift X. Now that that's in, I can add extra subdivisions along each axis. I can just put one subdivision in by rolling the mouse wheel just one click. And now if I start pushing and pulling these points around, you can see that quite quickly we run into the limitations of this, what is very simple geometry. There's only so far I can push it. This forehead, for example, that's made up of these big, broad polygons, so I can't really deform them very much. Of course, what I can do is just remesh this whole thing, and that will give me a really flexible piece of geometry to work with. Again, Quick Deform menu with Control Shift F, and over on the left there is the remeshing menu. I'm going to demonstrate now with this third one down, the Remesh Modifier macro. And that gives us this interactive grid in the viewport, so I can judge the size of these voxels. I want to keep the voxel size pretty small so that I don't lose too much of the planar look, the planar quality of this model. Larger voxels are going to smooth it out too much for what I want here. Okay, so now if I use that lattice, again, drag these points around. Of course, I'm much less limited as to how far I can distort this thing. In the modifier stack, I'm going to hide that lattice for now. Now these eye sockets and the nose, I'm going to use a different add-on now, Bool Tool, one of the old favorites. So enable that in your preferences. And I'm just going to bash in an eye shape here. So shift right click to place the 3D cursor about where you want it. Add a sphere. F2, rename it, say, eye cutter or something. Scale it to about the right size. Maybe over in side view. Position it to the right depth so it's cutting into the skull. Right, now shift click the skull and use the shortcut Control numpad minus. And that will give me a difference boolean. Look at the reference again. Yeah, so look how expressive these eye sockets are. So these tall diamond shapes. I love these. I can get closer to this look by reshaping the cutters that I've just made. Again, I'll do that with a quick lattice. So select the cutter, then Control Shift F, quick lattice, and this time I'm going to check lattice always in front. So I can manipulate the hidden points at the back of the eyeball, and then I can just duplicate the cutter and the lattice to create the other eye, and then I'll do the same thing again for the nose. Just remember that the order of these modifiers matters. At the moment, we've got this smoothish skull with very faceted eye sockets. So you may want to drag the remesh lower in the stack, so that happens last. And the same goes for the lattice. If it operates before the eye socket booleans, now I just want to adjust some points just to demonstrate this on the lattice. And you see the eyes are getting left behind. That means you just need to drag the lattice modifier lower down in the stack so it happens after the booleans. So that's the principle. Smash out a quick sculpt using Quickshape, and then make things easy and flexible for yourself by using Quick Deform. Now, as I say, I do absolutely love this artist's work, so stay tuned for more master studies on the great Satoshi Matsuura. Do zустрічі!
3D from Zero makes tutorials and tips about 3D software. If you're into 3D, or you'd like to be, check out my free course on 3dfromzero.com, and there are some paid courses there too. Thanks for watching.